Good morning, everyone, and welcome. And I must apologize for my voice this morning. It might break sooner rather than later. I'm coming down off of day 6 of a really bad flu. First one that knocked me down so bad in a few years. So I'm apologizing from now. Anyway, I know protocol has been established, but I would also like to say a special welcome to the two ladies that spoke earlier. Her Excellency the Governor, thank you so much for that story that you heard this week, because that put it in a nutshell. It just put it in perspective for all of us, what goes on in the mind of someone that is confused and severely depressed from anxiety, what my own son may have been going through as well, which I didn't find the writings on, but I could see him thinking of it that way. So thank you for that, and welcome. And Honorable Sabrina Turner, thank you once again. You show up early. I was just impressed the first year. She showed up early and stayed all day and asked, how can I help? So thank you very much. So as we gather here today for the 7th annual Alex Panton Youth Mental Health Symposium, we are on an important journey of understanding and healing. Our carefully chosen theme, building bridges, acceptance, belonging, and the power of connection, asks us to confront the complexities of the youth mental health with courage and compassion. As our organizing committee discussed this theme during our various planning sessions, it became clear to me that at the heart of the theme lies the concept of bridging the generational gap of understanding. And I felt strongly that I wanted to speak to you all on this topic. In essence, bridging this gap entails fostering empathy, communication, and mutual respect between different age groups. It involves transcending barriers and acknowledging the unique perspectives, experiences, and challenges faced by the individuals of all generations. For too long around the world, and particularly here at home, there has existed a real disconnect between the generations, a lack of understanding and appreciation for the lived realities of one another. This disconnect can often manifest itself in the realm of mental health, where attitudes and belief about mental illness vary widely across different age groups. For many of our older generations, mental health may be shrouded in stigma and misconceptions, viewed as a taboo topic, best left unspoken, passed down through generations from earliest recorded times. Meanwhile, younger generations may feel misunderstood or dismissed, their struggles trivialized or invalidated. Bridging this generational gap of understanding requires us to break down these barriers, to engage in open and honest dialogue about mental health, and to create spaces where individuals of all ages feel safe to share their experiences and seek support. It means recognizing that mental illness knows no bounds of age or background, that it can affect anyone, regardless of their generation or social status. It means challenging the notion that mental health is a sign of weakness or moral failing, and instead of ignoring it, we should accept that mental health issues are just a normal part of being human, and the vast majority can be treated and overcome. But bridging the generational gap of understanding is about more than just talking. It's about actively listening to connect with the person or persons you're trying to reach to bridge this gap. It's about acknowledging the wisdom and the experience of older generations while also embracing the innovation and resilience of younger generations. by listening to the stories and perspectives of those who have walked different paths, of those who have faced different struggles, and who have valuable insights to share, we open up pathways to foster trust and understanding and to find that common ground needed to build a bridge of understanding to create a more compassionate and supportive community for all. In the context of youth mental health, bridging the generational gap of understanding is particularly crucial. Young people today face a myriad of challenges, from academic pressure and social media stress to economic uncertainty and conforming with societal expectations, to name a few. Although we as a mental health foundation have made significant inroads to bridge the gap of understanding in the past 6 years, there is much more work to be done to reach those that are still trapped in the thought that is not for open discussion, or you can just get over it if you try hard enough and pray every day. My Alex prayed every day. This is one of the things that his therapist disclosed to me. He was frustrated that his own mother could not understand that he was going through or even have the right words to say to him when he tried to explain to me why he was so angry. I'm very much a believer in the power of prayer and meditation to help you through tough times and very tough decisions. For deeper-rooted mental illness, treatment by mental health professionals is necessary. And this brings me back to a very familiar saying that my parents would tell us: God helps those that help themselves. By this, I'm referring to being able to discern when a mental illness is deep-rooted and has caused a chemical imbalance in your child, so you can get them help. This is the reason I'm here today. I misunderstood a deep-rooted mental illness when trying to raise a teenager who was severely depressed and seemed angry with me all the time. I thought he was a rebellious teenager and it was a phase he was going through. After we lost our beautiful son and grieved deeply with guilt of what we could have done differently for years, I set about to learn more about this illness that had stolen our vivacious, committed, compassionate, super intelligent child at the age of 16. The Alex Panton Foundation was conceived in July 2017 in the minds of myself, Alex's dear high school friend Haley Robinson, and her mother, Mrs. Charmaine McGowan. It was almost 7 years since Alex took his own life on October 30th, 2010, and each of us were still grieving him deeply. We spoke of other young persons that each of us knew that were going through severe anxiety and depression and wanted to try and set about destigmatizing mental illness. First of all, so that we could find ways to bridge this gap of misunderstanding of mental illness. Before long, we were meeting regularly and then brought other friends on board that had the same desire to help those suffering in silence from mental illness. It was Mrs. Lizette Yearwood, thank you, Lizette, for just always being there for me, who was one of Alex's other moms that came early to the group that suggested we hold a youth mental health symposium on Alex's 24th birthday, 10th February 2018, and to bring mental health professionals together in a forum to impart knowledge on various facets of youth mental health and young people telling their stories, their challenges, and how they are overcoming them. There was no theme, as we were not sure what to expect with this first conference. So on the 10th of February 2018, the Alex Panton Foundation was launched in the form of a youth mental health symposium that we promise to a filled standing room only in the ballroom at the Marriott, that it would be an annual event. I think I might have said that wrong, but I think you get the gist of it. By the time, by the time the second one came around, we decided that there were so many areas to cover that we should focus on one area at each time. Lynn Biles of Tower, who has been with us from the very first symposium, decided that for the next symposium, we should categorize the focus area with a theme. In 2019, our theme was addressing our past, supporting our future. We knew we had to be building bridges from back then. I do feel I have to give Mrs. Biles a lot of credit for the growth and prominence of Alex Panton and her team, and her great Tower team. A lot of credit for the growth and the prominence of the Alex Panton Foundation and the wonderful symposium that you're enjoying today. She knew her needs and expounded on how to meet them through the symposiums. So bridging the generational gap of understanding on a personal level was a need that was all too real for me. It has been a necessity to try to achieve this, to dispel the misunderstanding of mental illness that existed, and it has driven my determination to educate myself and facilitate the same for all persons in our community on every possible piece of information that could help our younger generation suffering from mental illness. By endeavoring to understand our young people and mental illness better, we can create an environment where young people feel seen, heard, valued, where their struggles are taken seriously and their unique needs are addressed with empathy and compassion, where they are empowered to seek help without fear of judgment or shame. In our quest to foster acceptance and belonging, we must recognize the diverse tapestry of identities that make up our community here in Cayman. We must ensure that every individual, regardless of their race, sexual orientation, gender identity, or socioeconomic status, feels valued, respected, and included. In the historically conservative society of the Cayman Islands, however, the journey towards acceptance can be fraught with challenges. Deep-rooted cultural norms and even ethnocentric and traditional values may inadvertently marginalize certain groups, perpetuating feelings of exclusion and alienation. LGBTQ youth, for example, often grapple with fear of rejection and discrimination, both within their families and communities, and there are various other groups. But I would like to highlight them in particular because we are all God's children. So, and as we strive to build bridges of acceptance and belonging, we must confront these inequities head on. We must challenge the status quo, advocating for policies and initiatives that promote inclusivity and equality for all. As I said, as we are all God's children. This may require us to engage in uncomfortable conversations to dismantle harmful stereotypes and to amplify the voices of those who have been silenced. It won't be easy, but if we don't, we'll let down some very remarkable young people in our community who will remain marginalized and hidden, which then supports the continuation of various societal issues that currently exist. A society that meets the needs of as many of the population as possible is a strong community that strives where the majority are contributing to the greater good and success of the country, thereby making all of our lives easier and more contented. However, acceptance is not merely a passive acknowledgement. It must be an active commitment to creating spaces where every individual feels seen, heard, and valued. It's about fostering a culture of empathy and understanding where differences are celebrated rather than stigmatized. As parents, teachers, and community leaders, we have a responsibility to lead by example, to cultivate environments where diversity is embraced and where a young person can thrive from misaligned judgments of others, not wanting to accept one another's differences. Moreover, belonging is not just about fitting in. It is about finding a sense of connection and community that transcends superficial differences. It is about creating opportunities for meaningful engagement and collaboration, where individuals can come together to share their experiences, support one another, and advocate for change to darn the frayed edges of the tapestry of our society. Whether through our peer support groups, mentorship programs, or other initiatives, we should all band together in unity to ensure that every young person feels a sense of belonging within their own skin and within their own community. And at this time, I'm not sure if Pastor Murray is here, but I saw Mr. Seaford Russell earlier. I would like to recognize the Boys to Men program that is headed by Pastor Councillor Murray and assisted by Mr. Seaford Russell. I met him earlier, for great work that they do in this respect of giving young men a place to feel like they belong. Many teenage boys now want to be part of this program, to be the best versions of themselves, not just because they need structure or guidance or have been acting out. They feel a sense of belonging and pride under the tutelage of Mr. Murray. So I'd like to give them a round of applause. Thank you. When certain groups are marginalized or excluded, the fabric of our society begins to fray, leaving behind a trail of broken dreams and untapped potential. Therefore, the implications of failing to address these issues are profound. Mental health disparities widen as marginalized individuals are left to navigate their struggles alone, like in the boat, in the storm. Very good analogy. Without access to the resources and support they desperately need. But there is hope. By coming together today, we have taken an important step towards building a more inclusive and compassionate society. Together, we can bridge the generational gap of understanding, nurturing the mental health and well-being of our youth for generations to come. To truly delve into the depth of our theme of building bridges, I'd like to explore each aspect in more detail. Acceptance, the cornerstone of any meaningful That's why you should turn your cell phones off. They're very distracting to the speakers. Acceptance, the cornerstone of any meaningful dialogue surrounding mental health, is not achieved overnight. It requires us to challenge our own biases and preconceptions, to confront the uncomfortable truths that lie beneath the surface. It demands empathy, compassion, and a willingness to listen, to truly listen to the stories of those who have been marginalized or silenced. Belonging, too, is a multifaceted concept, one that extends far beyond mere social acceptance. It is about creating spaces where every individual feels a sense of connection and community, where they can express themselves authentically without fear of judgment. It is about fostering a sense of belonging within our schools, workplaces, and neighborhoods, places where our youth spend the majority of their time and where they feel safe to be themselves. Again, thank you, Boys to Men, and I understand there's now one for young women in our high schools. Our emotional literacy program teaches children in the early years how to be compassionate and accepting of their fears, thereby setting the foundation to preempting bullying so that there is a feeling of belonging when these children grow up to become adults and they're not bullied and they know how to impart empathy and compassion and make others that would ordinarily be marginalized feel like they are accepted and belong and where they are. And finally, the power of connection, the invisible thread that binds us all together in this tapestry of life, regardless of our differences. It is through the connection that we find strength, resilience, and hope. It is through connection that we realize that we're not alone, that our struggles are shared, and our triumphs are celebrated. And you can bring that boat in together. Whether through struggles, through meaningful conversations, shared experiences, or acts of kindness, let us harness the power of connection to uplift and support one another on our journey towards a healing and a stronger society. Through its tireless advocacy, education, and support services, 6 years after its founding, the APF continues to champion the cause of youth mental health, empowering individuals and families to seek help and find healing. Allow me to highlight some specific initiatives offered by the Alex Panton Foundation that have grouped into 5 categories. Mental health education programs. The foundation conducts workshops and training sessions aimed at raising awareness about youth mental health issues, reducing stigma. Our emotional literacy program in the primary schools promotes compassion and acceptance of each other, as well as teaching young children how to deal with difficult situations and loss, and to become more emotionally grounded young men and women. Youth outreach and support. The foundation provides a range of support services for young people, including peer support groups such as Teen Talk or Youth Ambassadors Program. You will hear from some of them on a panel today. Crisis intervention at the amazing Alex's Place. And our Kids Helpline that we are delighted to be formally launching today. I am so excited about these ventures that are finally unfolding and have been a primary focus of the APF since inception. Parent and caregiver support. The foundation offers resources and support for parents and caregivers, including educational materials available on our website, support groups such as Breaking Barriers, and improve access to mental health professionals for parents otherwise unable to afford treatment for their children through our financial assistance program. Advocacy and policy change. The foundation advocates for policy changes to improve access to mental health services, increasing funding for youth mental health programs, and promote mental health literacy in schools and communities. A good example of advocacy in this respect is the work of our Legal and Policy Committee, headed up by our Haley Robinson, which successfully lobbied government in 2020 to bring about an amendment to the law to decriminalize suicide in the Cayman Islands. For clarity, this was to ensure that victims of mental illness were not further victimized as criminals for attempting suicide. There is still more work to be done here, including advocating for better insurance coverage for mental health treatment. Community engagement in events. The foundation attends or organizes community events such as this annual Youth Mental Health Symposium to foster dialogue, build connections, and promote positive mental health practices. This, in a nutshell, encompasses some of the work the Alex Panton Foundation, a beacon of hope and a catalyst for change in our community. I am so proud of the work that we do and the staff and the many volunteers that make it happen. At this time, I would like to recognize our amazing board of directors. I'm not going to call you out because there are 11 of us with the same passion and incredible drive to make Cayman a better place where our youth are driven to thrive, become our leaders of tomorrow. And special shout out to Jaren. Is he here now? Jaren is our future premier in 2029, and he will be on our youth panel today. I would also like to say a special thanks to our wonderful 3 staff members who are probably manning the booths outside right now. Michelle Powell, Emily Kelly, and Erin Kaufman. These ladies have been working extremely hard leading up to this symposium to bring you a seamless conference and working against the clock to launch the long-awaited Kids Helpline today. There are 3 amazing young women. Thank you, ladies. And I would like to say a sincere thanks to the countless volunteers that have helped to bring us to where we are today. There are many of you. You will hear more of our initiatives throughout the day, which are integral to the Foundation's mission of promoting youth mental health and well-being in the Cayman Islands. As we honor the memory of Alex and the many others who have been impacted by mental illness, let's take a moment to reflect inwardly, examining ourselves critically and with purpose, committing to enact real change in our own lives. Let's persist in advocating for youth mental health, standing in solidarity with those who need our support the most. In closing, I want to express my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you for your unwavering dedication to this vital cause. Thank you to all of you that have been here with us from February 2018, joined us since, and those of you that are joining us for the first time today. Together we can make a difference. Together we can build a future where every young person feels accepted, valued, connected, and empowered to thrive, like Jaren. I know you will find the presentations today profound, uplifting, and inspiring, and you're already planning to attend next year's symposium. Wishing you a wonderful day.